I wish those two would leave each other alone, but they won't. So I'll go ahead and talk about them anyways. Even though they are exhausting. Gemini and Virgo are both ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication in astrology. Communication is all about connection. It's about intellectual connection. So oftentimes these two get together because they get their intelligence, they get their insight, they get their humor. Virgo is often fascinated by the candor of Gemini, the way Gemini just lets anything fly out of the mouth. You know, that's just like enthralling for them. Like, wow, like you can actually just like say what you think, you know, because Virgo is very like restrained and controlled. So Virgo sees that in Gemini and they love it. And Gemini is also very, very funny, which Virgo appreciates, and obviously very smart, very astute. The two of them confuse this kind of physical attraction. Well, not even physical in some cases, it's purely intellectual. The two of them confuse this sort of intellectual connection with love because they can get each other's humor, they can get each other's jokes, they can get the way they each other communicate. They both have control issues, both are slightly OCD. They both know how to externalize their problems, how to avoid their emotions, and focusing on like thoughts and things that, you know, aren't related to feelings. So in that regard, they're very similar, but ultimately, the stability that Virgo needs to feel secure in a relationship is not one that Gemini can provide, because Gemini quite frankly prefers relationships that are exciting. They don't really enjoy the not so exciting part of the relationship. They don't really enjoy the dull conversations, the lack of spark. Because it's immediate intellectual spark at first sight with these two, there is a belief that there is a long-standing attraction here that's going to ultimately create security for Virgo in this case. And, you know, what turns out, Virgo is not able to find that with Gemini, because Gemini loves impulsivity. Gemini loves adventure. Gemini loves last-minute plans. Gemini loves changing their mind at the last time. You know, Gemini loves everything that Virgo does not like being. Someone said, I'm a Gemini and I've been with a Virgo for 13 years. You could be with a Virgo for 50 years. No one is saying that Geminis cannot date Virgos. I think that person was asking, you know, what does a relationship between those two look like? And that's what it would look like. It looks like an intellectual connection that two people think is actually an emotional connection when it's not. That's what it looks like. Mary, Mate Roth, who asked it, it's true. What you're saying is true. So they agree that that's their experience. Yeah, you know, for a lot of us, and I don't know if some of you can relate to this, but for many of us who are like cerebral types, you know, the type of people that live in their heads and who like critically thinking and who like reading and who like, you know, overthinking. For those of us that like to live in our heads, unfortunately, sometimes we confuse like intellectual curiosity or even intellectual connection with a love connection. You know, a love connection isn't just an intellectual connection. Just because you think someone is like smart and sexy and well spoken, just because you and someone are sharing a joke and you can communicate well together and, you know, you are able to write your own language together, even, and you feel a bond with them that like keeps your mind going and gets your mind excited about seeing them, that doesn't mean that you're actually experiencing love. Nor does it mean that that love connection is actually going to be long-standing and sustaining. So I say that precisely for Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius, because these are the types of people that fall in love with the way people think and the way people are. And then they fail to recognize, like, yes, it's true. This person thinks like this. And yes, I find it so sexy and I find it so alluring that they speak like this and they think like this and they look at the world like this and they make jokes like this. But does that mean that needs to be a relationship? Could that also be a friend? Could that also be somebody with whom you just share ideas and share humor with? Like, you don't actually have to develop that into something physical. It could just be what it is. A lot of times when people have these kinds of like synastry moments where it's like, oh, I've met like someone who thinks just like me. If you're Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, you automatically assume that must mean I like them. That must mean I'm crushing on them. That must mean I like them. That must mean I want to be with them. Like when I was younger, I used to like go out with people I was like not even physically attracted to. And I did it a lot. Not even physically attracted to them, but I just loved the way they thought. And that's why I would go out with them. I mean, now in my older age, there's no way in hell. But back then, I didn't even like recognize that there were other parts of them that I needed to have as a requirement. In other words, I didn't even recognize that I needed to actually find them sexually pleasing and find them physically attractive. I didn't even think about that. Like, are they physically attractive? And how do I physically respond to them? Because again, when you're an air sign, and in my case, an Aquarius rising, you think intellectual connection is romantic connection, and it's not. It's not. Someone said, I'm guessing that it's because we also don't want to be bored in a relationship. We need to be able to have intelligent conversations. Absolutely agree. As an Aquarius rising, I would certainly say so. I've never dated anybody that I did not find interesting, that I cannot have a good conversation with. But at the same time, the things that sustain the relationship are other needs, like, are they a stable person mentally? Do they have a drinking problem? Are they able to keep a job? Can they keep a roof over their head? Are there someone who is trustworthy? Are they dependable? Are there some men who provide emotional security and consistency? Are there somebody I want to get old with? Like there's so many layers to this, but for a lot of air signs, unfortunately, they assume if there's an intellectual connection, then it must automatically mean it will translate in these other areas. And they find themselves sometimes in relationships with people that they're not even physically attracted to, but that they're mentally attracted to. But they don't realize that it was just a mental attraction until after the relationship became physical. Those of you air signs in a comment, can you give me feedback on what I just shared? So Cat Love 224 said 100% agree. And I guess Need a TikTok said I usually fall in love with her mind. Let's see what else. Many things to consider aside from good conversations. Yes, absolutely. So many other things that go into it. Mate said, yes, I'm a full Gemini and I agree. And someone else says, yes, everything that you said is true. I'm a Libra and Aquarius moon and I totally agree. Yeah, it's just something to be aware of. I didn't actually realize this until much older in life, so I figured some of you that were still struggling with that, maybe this like gives you like some kind of awareness about that. Agree, Gemini here. Definitely need mental stimulation. Yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it? It's like we're like, okay, if our minds are going, then we like you. But sometimes our minds are going and there's still shitty people. And we don't even realize it. Yes, as a Gemini, I agree. I get connected to Pisces very quick. Yeah, Pisces is very good at getting you to open up. I could see that. Hi, Liz. Thanks for joining. Okay, so who has the next astrology question? I want to remind you guys to please tap on the screen so the likes can go up with the live. And thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it. And thanks again to all of my subscribers. And if you're not yet my subscriber, I want to encourage you to consider becoming my subscriber. And becoming my subscriber will give you access to being able to have conversations with me about video topics you want me to cover. For you, I can shout you out at the beginning of those videos, and I'll also follow you back. So it's a good way for us to. Oh, thank you for being my new subby. It's a good way for us to. Oh, hi, Liz, saying they love all my Scorpio content. Thank you so much. I love talking about Scorpio. That's like literally the sign right next to mine. And I'm attracted to Scorpio moon like it's a bad habit. It's my addiction. As a Capricorn, it just comes naturally. So Scorpio content is easy for me to make because all that Scorpio is makes total sense to me. It's like, it feels like a second hand. So yeah, I would follow your account, and a lot of my followers like get to know me a little bit differently. Oh, Gianna said, I love how so supportive of Pisces I am. Oh, I love Pisces. Pisces is my crush of the zodiac, honestly. And I don't mean that like physically or even sexually. It's like the energy of Pisces is golden to me. I just love Pisces to pieces, and I will always stand for Pisces. Water signs in general, I love you guys. I attribute a lot of my healing to you guys. It's because of you guys that I am who I am. So even though I'm a Sagittarius, I'm never gonna deny that. I'm never gonna like say otherwise, because you guys are the only ones who have really helped me see myself and heal my hurt and learn how to deal with my feelings and accept my feelings for what they were. Like, you guys have done all of that for me. As a Sag Stallion and Capricorn Stallion, that did not come naturally to me. And every therapist I've ever had has been a water sign, and you guys are amazing. So you'll always have my heart. So even the things that I say about you that you need to work on, they're never going to come from a place of like, I hate you guys. It's just, nobody's perfect. Like, we all have our shit. And, a lot of times we don't even know we have it until somebody is brave enough to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm going to risk making myself uncomfortable and making you uncomfortable. But I love you enough to have the balls to tell you that, this thing that you do is annoying. You need to stop doing it. Sometimes it takes that brave soul for us to get it. And I take that on as my calling. Like, I'll be the asshole if it helps some of you like recognize that there are things that you need to work on. Like, if me being the asshole is what gets you to go, you know what, like, yeah, that was shitty, I need to stop doing that, or I'm a shitty person for doing this, or like, nice people don't do such things, so let me like reevaluate myself. If that's that's who I have to be for you to get there, then so be it. I'll be the villain. I'm okay with it. So yes, absolutely adore water signs to pieces. Honestly, like, when I think about my dating history, it's been like mainly water signs. Mainly water, mainly air. Like, I just love you guys deep, deep. I love you spiritually. I love you like on every imaginable level. And I've even manifested a couple of Pisces in my life. I have like 4. There's something about Pisces energy I adore. It's like, it's so healing. So healing. I love being around you guys. So yeah, I'm always going to shout you out. And same with Cancer. Good healing energy from all the water signs. So you're never going to get any water sign hate from me, fire sign. I give props where props is due. So no fake shit around here. No fake love. We say what we mean. If I like it, I like it. I don't like it, I don't like it. And if you're mad about it, that's fine, but I don't like it. I'm not going to pretend to like it because you're mad about it. It would just be what it is. I am a Sagittarius. I'm actually a Sagittarius Stallion and a Capricorn Stallion. Thank you, Malenka, for asking about my sign. But my sun sign is Sagittarius, so I'm a Sagittarius. I will speak my truth. That's one thing you can count on for me. All right, so who has my next question? Oh, thank you. I'm glad that love is mutual. I have so much more like content to make. Like, literally, I feel like I don't have enough time in a day, but it's gonna keep getting better. So, I just know like over time things will just keep getting better. All right, Gemini Nice is asked, and Gemini, thanks for asking. I know you asked that before. What do the degrees mean in the natal chart? Basically, they signify like the intensity of that placement. So they bring a lot of definition to it based on the qualities of the zodiac sign that normally sits at that. We also have like different zodiac signs associated with different degrees. So like each degree corresponds with a specific zodiac sign. As an example, like the first degree is Aries degree. And fourth degree is going to be cardinal degree because the sign of Cancer sits there. So Cancer also rules over the fourth house. So a lot of degrees are directly related to the zodiac sign that sits there, and they give a lot of meaning to the power of that placement. So if something is happening at a cardinal degree, it's going to look very different than if something was happening at a fixed degree, as an example. So that's basically what the varying degrees mean. And it just keeps going and repeating in the increments of 12. So thanks for asking for that question. When you're looking at the degree, it's also important to understand like what the varying degrees are on your chart, because some people have certain degrees that repeat. So if you're doing your own natal chart reading, you want to pay attention to those things. You can also, like, a lot of times when people are talking about the degrees, the one reason that it comes up is like whether it's like a destructive degree, like the 8th degree, like the degree of power, or they're looking at the degrees of fame. I can look at specific natal charts and tell if that person's going to be famous or not. Yeah, I know. Can you believe it? That you can tell somebody's going to be famous or not based on their natal chart? You can. So there's different degrees in the natal chart that also talk about like fame. And fame doesn't necessarily have to mean like Hollywood fame, but fame can also just mean like visibility in your community. Depending on where you're from, fame means different things. For some people, it could be like, I'm a famous writer, somebody's a famous producer, somebody's a famous cook, somebody's just like a famous like preacher in their neighborhood. They're still famous. So fame is not just about like what you see on TV. It's about like what is the level of exposure that you're going to have. And I can actually look at a natal chart and be able to tell like if this person's going to be famous or not famous. And I can also tell what kind of fame. Like, is it going to be long-term fame where people know them for a long time, like a household name? If you say their name, everybody knows. Like if you say Michael Jackson, everybody knows. Or is it going to be like a short-term type of fame where they're famous for a little bit of time and then after that nobody hears about them again? So even that, I can tell the distinction between the type of fame that they're going to have. There's certain degrees also that carry a lot of potent energy, a lot of power. So I can also tell like what element of power sits at that intersection of that placement, when it comes to fame. So there is a whole lot there that can be said about like just the degrees alone. Honestly, I could talk about it for months because each degree also means something very specific, because each degree sits at a specific power, and that power naturally influences that connection. So thank you for that. That was a beautiful question. Astrology is quite complex. A lot of people who don't understand astrology think astrology is just your sun sign and that's it. They think, oh, if I know my sun sign, then everybody who has my sun sign is just like me. And I know so and so and so and so and so and so, and they're Sagittarius like me and they're nothing like me. Because they don't understand that there's so much more to astrology than just the sun sign. In addition to your sun sign, there's your moon sign. Typically, people will talk about their moon sign. They will go sun, moon, and then there's your rising sign. So these we call your big three or your top three. So most people who are just getting into astrology, I always recommend that you at least know your top three or your big three, so that at least okay, what is my ego like? How do I process my emotions? And how do people receive me generally? What is my personality like to other people? What is their perception of my personality, right? So you should at least know those top three, because those are like your top three. Oh, hi, Rodney. Thank you for my roses. And Tracy, welcome. So then when you're done with those top three, then you want to get even deeper, right? Then we go to Mercury, which is how I communicate. Venus, how I love. Mars is how I create or how I enjoy my sex. So suddenly we got so deep, right? We just went all the way from ego to sex in top six. So if you know nothing about your astrology, and thank you, Savage Empath, for being the number 3 gifter and the number 2 gifter badge. Thank you for my rose. Thank you for sending me love from the Philippines. Oh, thank you for saying that I'm gorgeous. You're so sweet. So are you. I'm the same part as you, same part of God. So we just went from ego all the way to sex. So that's your top 6. So if you know nothing else about astrology, You should know your top 6. And I don't know if you've noticed, but lately when I make videos, I ask you, like, where in your top 6 do you have, oh, this is cute. Thank you, Ebony. And welcome, Queen Ebony. I appreciate you. Oh, thank you, Savage Empath, for saying that you absolutely love the astrology info. I love talking about astrology. And I was that weird friend that was always talking about it at parties. And I know my friends will be rolling their eyes, but listening to me anyways, because I have to. So now that I get to actually like do this live with you guys and do this all the time, like this is a dream come true for me. So the fact that you're getting something out of it means so much, because I can't believe that I'm actually doing it half the time, to be honest with you. Because I've always done this. This is nothing new. This is like the annoying astrology person that I am. I just found a platform to talk about it. But I was always that person. So nothing new here. But this is so much fun. Like being able to do this with you guys every week, it's like so joyful. It's so lighthearted. It's so fruitful. It makes me feel so accomplished. And then when you guys tell me that you like it, it's just like, oh, it's like butter on bread that you just got out of the oven. You know that feeling? You just got your bread. I'm a big cook, and I'm also a big like baking person. I just love food. So if I wasn't into astrology and fashion, I would be a cook. I love food. I love cooking. So if you've ever tried making bread at home, when you first get it out of the oven, it's like super hot. So you put your gloves on to get it out. And then like you can't wait to eat it. You should wait though. Like if it's a baguette, you can go for it because it's going to be a little tough. But if it's the kind of bread that you'll slice for sandwiches, it's a little soft. So you should wait, because you're trying to quickly get into it. It's going to get crunchy, and it won't be like firm. So you can slice it up for sandwiches later. So if it's a baguette, you go and you slice that little piece of baguette, and then you slice it in half, and you can see like the moisture come out of it. And then you get that little piece of butter, and it's like your favorite type of butter. I prefer vegan butter. So it's like nice and thick. And then you let it sit on that cushiony part of the bread, and you just watch it slowly melt. Yeah, and then like the whole piece of bread is like drenched with a thick layer of butter on top. Yeah, baguette and butter. President butter and baguette. Those of you who know, you know. Le beurre président. You can find it. You can find it here at Whole Foods, the beurre président. It just has to be that one, the beurre président. And then you just take like a slice this big, and you smear it on top of your hot baguette. Chef's kiss. So being able to do this feels like that. Like I'm already getting satisfaction from being here. So the rest of it is just like icing on the cake. Thank you so much for saying you like the content and it's helping you improve your lives. I appreciate it. Someone said now they want bread. Yes, French is my first language. I had to learn English. That's why I'm so formal when I speak English. I'm not as formal when I speak French. My hair is more down. So yeah, in addition to degrees, we talk about planets, then we talk about how the planets interact, and what is the potency of that interaction. There's so many different layers to understanding astrology. So in sharing the information that I do, I just want to make sure you have some generic understanding of the attributes that constitute the 12 zodiac signs, so that whether they're happening at the ego, or they're happening at the emotion, or they're happening with the communication, or how we fight, or how we have sex, how we love, how we live, at whatever stage or location they're happening at, because you have a good understanding of how the sign actually works, there's certain assumptions you can make about it. Once you understand the energy that sign carries, you can easily put it in any location and easily make sense of it. So those fundamentals are so important for that reason. I love that you guys are asking like a little bit more intricate questions. So I like that. Thank you. Oh, someone just watched a rising video, Sarah said. What did you think, Sarah? What did you think of the rising video? And did you already know that? Oh, you're missing Venus, Drea. Sun, moon, and rising, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. And just to explain, hi from Venezuela, Miss Henriquez. Thank you for hanging out. So your sun is your ego, to simplify. Your moon is your emotions. Your rising is your personality. Your Mercury is the way you communicate and receive information. Your Mars is how you make art. How creative are you? It's how you sex. It's how you fight. And your Venus is how you love. What type of energy do you need to feel like you're wrapped in abundance? So that's basically what they mean at their core. All right, so let's see who has a question. Oh, you're so welcome, Drea. Thanks for asking. And thanks to all of you who are tapping on the screen so the live can go up in the rankings. I really appreciate it. Okay, so someone wants to know if I have any advice on how to better connect with their Scorpio rising, their Pisces sun. Where else in your chart do you have Scorpio, Sarah? What house? What placements, rather? Do you have Scorpions in your big six, in your personal planets? Or North Node? Or South Node? Or Lilith? So I'm going to wait for you to respond to that question. Oh, Venus is in Pisces. I love Pisces Venus. Pisces Venus has a hard time finding love, though. Okay, no problem. You're looking it up. So I'm waiting for Sarah to open to answer those of you who just joined. Scorpio rising is a difficult placement because you trigger everybody. Everywhere you go, every time you meet people, you trigger them. You don't even try to, but they will feel triggered by you. Some people will hate you just because they don't like your energy. You would have done nothing to these people and they would hate you just because they don't like your energy. They don't like your intensity. And they also don't like that you know things about them that they never told you. It makes them feel powerless against you. It makes them feel scared. So as a result, they experience you as a threat. And because they see you as a threat, it's really hard for them to connect with you and bond with you. So it makes your relationship very challenging. Because even though you don't see yourself as threatening and you don't see yourself as intimidating, people experience you as intimidating. And they also experience you as being hungry for power. So they feel threatened by you because they smell that hunger. And that threat, will show up as them not liking you or not wanting to be open with you because they already feel like you're taking up more space than you should. So that's kind of the plight of Scorpio rising. I want to remind you also to subscribe to my YouTube channel in case TikTok just goes down. I want us to have a way to stay connected. I want to encourage you to consider becoming my subscriber. That gives you access to me following you following me. You can send me messages about topics that you want me to cover in the videos, and I'll do them just for you. Oh, thank you to all you first timers who came to chat with me and wanted to hang out with me this evening. I love you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for making my life so much more rich than it ever was, and putting up with me and hanging out with me and, adjusting to my changes with the long form content. I love you. And if you have any questions about topics you want me to make, those of you who are my subs, send me topics. I'll be happy to make them for you. You have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to catching up with you on Thursday. Bye. Mwah. Au revoir. Bonne nuit. Oh, thank you, Paula. So sweet. Bye. Good night. You can book your astrology reading at intuitivehealing.com. You can also watch videos at Intuitive Healing here on YouTube for Astrology 101 content. Listen to the Aquarius podcast on Spotify, as well as here on YouTube for your horoscope. If you're interested in astrology and love connections, you can visit at Styled Under Libra. And of course, for health and wellness and holistic healing, visit at Styled Under Virgo for all of your astrology content. Thanks so much for watching.